Okay, recorded.
Good evening.
There we go. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
We have all three that's going to be able to have them go ahead with the meeting tonight is to bring you up to date on where we are. The select board met last night and I listened to the meeting at the meeting. However, there are a couple of stuff that way. It's on the website now. It's on the town website now. It is, I think the collection is the same as the warrant articles that we saw, but they're numbered differently. And that they took the 1M out of the consent articles and made it a separate article because said the finance committee was going to recommend against that. But they're all on the website.
They took what out?
The article with the article for papers, the storage containers for the paper.
Okay, all right.
They out of the consent article and made it a separate article because they realized that the articles for the select board, and then I'm going to read the articles for the finance committee. But what I think we should do is following. I had a conversation with Lynn, this has been protocol. At the meeting last night, the idea was brought up, first of all, about the two strong chief articles. The select board was interested in, does somebody have an appliance on in the house? That,
I'll shut mine off. Maybe it's me. I'm outside.
Shut your mic off. No, that's not it.
I don't think it's me.
Okay.
You can shut off Kathy's.
They brought up, they wanted to withdraw the articles on the strong sheet. And Lynn said you can't because it's already been published. What you can do is you can make a motion to postpone.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, John.
Let me turn off my mic and see if it's coming from here.
Nope.
Okay, Bob, turn off your mic and see if it's coming from here. Okay, that's not it.
Wait a minute, I hit the wrong one. I hit the camera sharing.
Okay.
Gone away.
Gone away. It's gone away. Bob, you want to come back and see if it turns on again?
All right.
Are you there, Bob? Can we hear you? Can't hear you.
His mic is still off.
Let me see if.
Here we are.
Okay. Silence. It's okay.
I'm here.
All
All right. We chased it away.
All right. So anyway, they wanted to withdraw the two articles on the strong chief. I think there's a lot of controversy. I'm not sure they've been talked about enough. And they can't do that. You can't withdraw them once they've been been published. And so you can move to postpone them, or you can just move to vote them down, and then bring them back at a different time. So they're going to do something about those. I'm not exactly sure what, but at any rate. So then I brought up that for the three articles that the finance committee is recommending against, that we may do the same thing, that instead of, and we'll tell the people why. One reason is that it took us a couple hours to figure out what was going on with them, talk about it. It took I think it would be a disservice actually if the town voted on those without having an opportunity to get all the background information on them and to have them go back for a little further study. So at any rate, I think that's what I'm going to do is that when the first one comes up, it'll be read, and I'm going to make a motion that it be postponed indefinitely. And I'll say why. And then there'll probably be discussion about the postponement. And then if it's voted to postpone, then we just proceed on with the meeting at the meeting. So it's a complicated thing.
So it's up to us to postpone it as opposed to the select board?
The select board, a couple meetings ago, said, let the people decide, and tried to point out that there isn't enough information for a reasonable decision. I mean, letting people decide, of course, is what we preach. We don't set anything. We just make recommendations, and the town decides on the budget and the rest of the items. But we're very much opposed to the town having to vote on something that has not been discussed, and that like what we'll do. I think it'll be up to us. They said they weren't going to. It'll be up to us to make the motion to postpone, and if it's not postponed, then to make the motion, then to argue that the motion be defeated. So
What are you gonna, what's gonna be the difference in your speech or your talk or your discussion if it's to postpone rather than to defeat it?
the reason we wanted to voted to be postponed is this: they are not. Two of them are completely intertwined. The third one, the mower, stands by itself, but two of them are completely intertwined, and that's not clear at all from what is written about them or where they are, which is separated pretty far in the agenda, and that we are not necessarily dead set against everything about the projects, but we are against the way the projects have been thought about so far. They haven't been thoroughly examined, and they certainly haven't been explained. So the reason we would ask the town to postpone them is because we do not think that there has been enough discussion about them and enough available information for the town to make a reasoned decision on at this point. But we think that that will happen if the people who are proposing the articles go through and have a public meeting and have a chance to have it discussed and tell the people what the articles are really about. So that's the reason why we don't have it postponed. If it's not postponed, then the reasons we would give to vote it down are the reasons basically behind what all the complications are. That was my idea.
And my reason for asking is because if the motion to postpone as presented,
Possibly, but we won't have given any of the reasons. For example, how many people know that we're
this time, what my concern is, should you present it stronger on the postpone it indefinitely?
no, I can do that. I can put a couple of examples in of things that we've found. But the lawnmower is the best example of the three. On its surface, there are a lot of things that are not known.
Speak for it.
Well, first of all, you'll have to speak for or against the motion. When I suspect that when they speak against the motion, they'll probably give reasons as to why they want to buy why they were in favor of the articles. But there really are two different ideas, and that one is based upon an insufficiency of knowledge, and the second is based upon the facts as we know them, the partial facts as we know them. But I can speak if given a choice. And the second is that it's intertwined with the article on the renovation of the basement and partial renovation of the library pavilion. And nobody knows that. That's not mentioned in there. They're separate. They're being given as two separate articles. The third thing is that nobody really knows that for the two positions for the town administrator's office, which had been approved in the last couple of budgets that we've had, but it's been left out of this budget. But that was the original purpose of renovating space in the old library, was to have office space for the person. The people that they're now saying, the people who are now be subject to that office don't need that space. We have a space for the building services crew over in the highway department building. And that's clear to us, but I don't think anybody even knows that that's part of what the issues are that are behind these things. So, and again, here right now, these are not 2 minute, these are not 2-minute arguments. I'm talking to two people who know, and Rich, who's on there too, who know and have heard this 2 or 3 times already. And it takes much more time than that just to get down the basics of this. So I don't think town should be forced to make a decision on something like this.
There's also going to be the need for heat.
Running electricity over to it is part of the project, but I don't know whether that's electricity for space heaters or whether that's electricity for something else. And we had said that before, that if they're planning to use the pavilion for any kind of workshop, they're going to need to run a 220-volt line over into it. Leave it as an assignment to jot down some of the ideas that I would include in my opening statement to postpone. And let me think about working that on into the original statements that I made. And then if that fails, come up with the bigger arguments to ask people to reject it at this meeting.
As I said earlier, if you don't win to postpone indefinitely, I don't believe you have a chance.
Years of experience, Bob, or?
Well, I mean, when you know the way a town meeting acts, if there's people that are skeptical, it even sounds a little better than does rejecting it. But the fact is, if there's a whole pile of people that don't want to go along with the finance committee on postponing it indefinitely, they're probably not going to want to go along with the finance committee on defeating it.
Well, I still think it's better to do the 2-step route, though.
I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm just, my thought is to make the first one strong. Don't have it as a, well, we think we ought to study it more. I think you need to throw some facts out.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
lack
Yes.
of facts, whatever the proper word is.
I think Lynn would prefer that too. Our conversation.
Which would shorten the meeting, the whole town meeting up if we just had
Yeah.
the one vote, right?
Okay, that I sent around the draft of the booklet to everybody today.
Is that
Okay.
different?
Huh?
Is that different from the one that I got in the mail?
No, that's the annual.
Okay. And this one has our current statement in it?
This is the town meeting booklet. Yeah, it has our statement in it. It's got the budget. It does not have, I asked Chris to break out some of the departments a little differently, and I think he was not able to do that in the time that he's got available. But the rest of it's the exact same format as we had in the past. Will both of you be able to attend the meeting on Saturday?
Mine too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I have a question. Is anybody from the town even gonna show up?
You know,
I mean,
that's a
What are
good,
you gonna tell the people?
that's a good, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Saturday is gonna be hot. It's not gonna be 90, but it's gonna
No,
be,
that's not my question. Has there been any phone call? Has there been any email? Has there been any literature? Has there been any posts in the paper?
I don't know.
Well, I haven't seen one. Not that I see everything, but have either one of you seen anything?
Well, I looked at the Granby Town Meeting Forum on Facebook. And the 2 strong chief articles were being discussed. So everybody would be, that looked at it, would be aware that there's a meeting coming up.
So we got Facebook people.
A notice in the paper. But
No, I don't think it has to be in the paper.
I've been on the finance committee, I think 30 years, and we went to meetings longer than that. I don't think I've ever seen a notice in the paper because I don't look for them.
I'm not sure that there is one, John.
May.
There was.
Okay.
Like I said, I've never looked at in any past year to find one, but I thought that probably the town was required to publish something.
Okay, thanks.
I had heard the same thing, that there'd been quite a bit of interest in the Facebook page, particularly around the two current chiefs, I don't believe. I think it's a law, I think they're grandfathered in, but it applies to future police chiefs and fire chiefs. It's my understanding, but that's a recent understanding. Are you?
Simplicity of it though. But it would make sense that you wouldn't have it affect the people that are in office at the moment.
Okay, aware of what now?
The two warrant articles on the strong chiefs, strong police chief, strong fire chief.
Well, actually, it was commented on quite a bit on Granby Town Meeting on Facebook, and it did say that the current chief, fire chief and police chief would not be affected by it.
Okay, that's what I thought, part of what you can and can't do for those kinds of situations.
Right, that's good. So just to be
Any
clear,
idea where we're supposed to park?
There's something on the town website about that, and I forget where it is. It might-
It's unclear,
uh,
because what was said was the parking, the way it was written, the parking for the people that want to attend the meeting and stay in their cars would be in that area which I guess is where the students park. As people that are going to be sitting there to be occupying those spaces. Otherwise, they're going to be putting everybody who's going in their car to some further away location, which then makes it much more difficult to count votes or to pass mics around.
yeah, the only other parking, I guess, is the big parking lot between the schools, right?
Yeah, that's,
or the East Meadows parking lot. The one in, oh, the smaller, sorry.
I also
I
got
guess-
the impression we're supposed to be checking in our cars.
yeah, they're gonna check in your car. I suppose they'll tell us where to go park if we're gonna be, rather than sitting in a chair rather than in the car, but
Well, that's not an option for us.
no,
I didn't even ask that. I thought about, should I ask whether or not we could stay in our cars and participate that way, but I didn't ask.
So I would think, Bob, that there's going to be some, I don't know, policeman standing there, and if he directs you to go park away and you say, no, I want to stay in my car, maybe he lets you stay. I don't know.
yeah, that's true, but it doesn't say for those that are gonna be sitting in chairs to go park, maybe not. I guess we'll find out sometime around 8:30 or a little bit earlier on Saturday morning.
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
No?
Not then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Almost.
A second.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you for attending, and I'll be back in touch with you about the meeting on Thursday.